Welcome back, everyone. Before we dive in, make sure you drop your thoughts and the lessons you took from this story in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into it. My name is Anthony Reed. I am 36 years old. The alert on my phone buzzed at exactly 4:47 p.m. on a Wednesday. The message was from my wife, Lauren, who claimed she was working late at the office conference. She wrote, "Do not wait up tonight." I stared at the text and felt a heaviness rise in my chest. Conference? She had never mentioned any conference. In 8 years of marriage, Lauren had always been the kind of person who would complain about mandatory gatherings weeks in advance. Now she was dropping this on me as if it were nothing. The timing was wrong. We had dinner plans. Nothing extravagant, just our usual routine for Wednesday evenings. Chinese takeout and an hour to catch up on our week. She knew I looked forward to it. Suddenly, an unexplained conference stood in the way of something so ordinary and so us that it felt like an erasure. I leaned back in my office chair and studied the message again. The tone sounded different. Usually her texts were chatty, dotted with details about who said what and how mind-numbing everything felt. This one was short and cold, as if she were advising a neighbor, not her husband. For the past 3 weeks, she had been acting off, coming home later, taking calls in the other room, offering thin summaries about her day. And then there was Jalen Carter from accounting. She had mentioned him more times in the past month than she had mentioned her own boss in the past year. Jalen thinks the new system is inefficient. Jalen suggested a better way to handle the reports. Jalen has such funny stories about his weekend. Jalen. Each mention had been a small crease that, together, folded into something unmistakable. I decided to test a theory. My thumbs moved quickly over the screen. "Hope you and Jalen from accounting enjoy the presentation." I pressed send and watched the message deliver. I waited there, motionless, listening to the hum of the air vent, as if it could tell me something I did not want to hear. Her response was immediate. Not immediate like she rushed to type. Immediate like she already had her phone in hand, waiting for my reply. The ellipsis appeared and vanished. Appeared again. I could almost see her face, tense and uncertain. Then my phone rang. Lauren never called during work hours. "Hey, honey," she said. Her voice sounded higher than usual, like she had to stand on tiptoes just to reach the word honey. "Just got your text," she continued. "Why would you mention Jalen? Is he not at the conference too?" I asked. "You talk about him enough. I figured he would be there." Silence stretched thin, then nervous laughter. "Oh, well, yes. I mean, maybe. It is a big conference. There are a lot of people from different departments. I would not know who all is attending." "Interesting," I said. Yesterday, she had told me Jalen was working on a special project with her department. Today, she did not know if he would attend their conference. "What is the conference about again?" Another pause. "It is about new compliance procedures," she said. "Very boring stuff. You know how these corporate things are." I knew exactly how these corporate things were, because I worked in the same industry at a competing firm. In Chicago at that. We never scheduled major compliance conferences in the middle of a quarter. Too busy with actual work, too many deadlines. "Sounds exciting," I said, letting the dryness show. "What time does it end?" "Late," she said. "Probably around 10 or 11. Then there is networking afterward." "Networking until midnight on a Wednesday?" I asked. "Your boss is really pushing the team these days." "Well, you know how it is in our industry." Her tone implied this was supposed to settle everything. It settled nothing. "I will let you get back to your conference," I said gently. "Drive safe." I hung up and checked the time. 5:03 p.m. If this conference was so urgent, why was she able to talk for almost 10 minutes about Jalen from accounting? My gut already had a conclusion. My brain still wanted proof. I opened my laptop and logged into our shared cell phone account. Her location services were still on. According to the GPS, her phone was at a restaurant across town in Chicago's River North, not at her office building in the Loop, and not at any conference center. The restaurant was an Italian place called Casa Verona. It was the kind with dim lighting and intimate booths. Perfect for a romantic dinner. Terrible for a corporate compliance meeting. I sat back and let the realization sink in. My wife was lying to me. She was having dinner with another man and had constructed a shaky cover story. The same man she had woven into casual conversations for weeks. Yet instead of anger, a strange clarity took hold. The late nights, the secret calls, the new clothes, the sudden interest in her morning gym sessions. I had noticed all of it and tried to give her the benefit of the doubt. Now I had more than doubt. I had evidence that smelled like marinara and regret. I looked at my phone again. Should I drive to Casa Verona and confront them? Make a scene in public? I felt a surge of heat in my chest. Then I let it pass. That was what a man driven by emotion would do. I did not want to be that man. I had a better idea. I sent one more text. Hope you and Jalen from accounting enjoy the presentation. The same line. The same tone. This time, I opened the live location feed and watched in real time. Within 30 seconds, her phone icon began to move quickly, too fast for walking. She was running to her car. 18 minutes later, I heard her key in the front door. Her hand was shaking so badly it took her 3 tries to unlock it. Honey, she called out, her voice tremulous. I'm home early. The conference got canceled. I walked to the kitchen where she stood, still wearing her coat, clutching her purse like a small shield. That is too bad, I said. Good thing you had not ordered dinner yet. She blinked. What do you mean at the conference? Good thing they canceled before you ordered food, I said. I hate to waste money on room service. Oh yes. Right. No food. She smiled quickly, but I could smell garlic bread on her clothes. There was a small red sauce stain on her white blouse that had not been there this morning. How was Jalen? I asked, keeping my voice casually light. Her face went pale. Jalen. You know, Jalen from accounting. The one you hoped would enjoy the presentation. Did he make it to the conference before it got canceled? She opened and closed her mouth. I do not. Why do you keep asking about Jalen? Just curious, I said. You mention him often. I feel like I know the man. She forced a laugh. Do I? I had not noticed. I smiled. It was not a warm smile. Must be my imagination. She excused herself to change clothes, but she took her phone with her into the bedroom, as if it had become an extension of her hand. When she came back down, she wore a different perfume, heavier than the light floral scent she had put on this morning. Something meant to cover up another scent entirely. We ordered Chinese food. We sat on the couch with the takeout cartons between us. She kept checking her phone, flinching whenever it vibrated. A number she did not recognize called twice. She declined both calls. Popular night, I observed mildly. Just spam calls, she said quickly. Around 9:30 p.m., she let out an exaggerated yawn. I'm exhausted from that conference, she said. I'm going to bed early. She did not sleep. I could hear her whispering on the phone in our bedroom, the words a low hum through the door. When I walked past, the whispering stopped mid-syllable. I went to my home office and opened my laptop. If I was going to face a hurricane, I preferred it with charts, facts, and mark dates. Time to do some research on Jalen Carter from accounting. Social media made it easy. Jalen Carter, 29, single, worked in the same building as Lauren. One of his recent posts showed him at Casa Verona tonight. The photo captured a candlelit table set for 2. The caption read, "Great dinner with a special someone." It was posted at 7:23 p.m., during the span when Lauren was supposedly learning about compliance procedures that never happened. I took a screenshot and saved it to a secure folder I had created for reasons I never anticipated needing. I felt an ache blossom under my sternum. Then I filed the ache away with the screenshot. Facts first, feelings later. The next morning, Lauren was gone before I woke up. Her side of the bed was cold. A small note on the kitchen counter read, "Emergency meeting. Back tonight. Love you." Emergency meeting on a Thursday. I said out loud into an empty kitchen. Her company did not operate that way. I could have appreciated the effort if it had not insulted basic logic. I called in sick to work for the first time in 3 years. There were more important numbers to examine than quarterly revenue. The truth had become my only pressing metric. My first stop was her office building in the Loop. I parked across the street with a clear view of the employee entrance. If she really had an emergency meeting, I would see her car. If she was lying again, that would be another line on a list I hoped I would never have to write. By 10 a.m., dozens of employees had entered the building. Her car was not in the lot. Her usual spot sat empty, a small vacancy that said more than any excuse could. I drove to Casa Verona. The lunch crowd had not arrived yet, so the quiet felt like a hell breath. I walked in and approached the hostess stand. "Excuse me," I said. "I believe my wife left an earring here last night." She was dining with a colleague around 7. Table for 2, likely near the window. The hostess, a woman about 30 with a neat bob and a calm, professional voice, smiled. Her name tag read Keisha. "Oh yes." I remember them, she said. Lovely couple. Very romantic. They seemed happy. The word romantic struck like a pin dropped on glass. Did they stay long? Until about 8:30, Keisha said. They ordered the anniversary special. The gentleman seemed nervous, kept checking his phone. Sweet proposal energy. We do not usually see that on Wednesday nights. My blood went cold. Proposal? Keisha tilted her head. Well, not exactly a proposal, but he gave her something in a small box. She seemed surprised and moved. Very emotional moment. I thanked her and left before words sharpened in my mouth and drew blood. Outside, the sunlight fell false. Back in my car, I sat without moving and tried to breathe evenly. If Jalen gave my wife jewelry, she would hide it. She would think she could manage both lives with a trinket tucked away. I hated the image and used that hate to focus. I drove home and went straight to our bedroom. Her jewelry box was too obvious. Under the mattress was too cliché. Then I thought about her gym bag. She had been hitting the gym more lately, posing it as a path to wellness. It could also be a path to concealment. I unzipped the side pocket. Wrapped in tissue paper lay a silver bracelet. Expensive, sleek, the sort of shine that thought highly of itself. On the inside was an engraving. Always yours, Jay. Lauren did not have any close friends whose names began with J, except Jalen. I photographed the bracelet from multiple angles, documenting the engraving clearly. Then I wrapped it up again exactly as I'd found it. Some truths had to sit in the dark a little while longer. Next, I checked her laptop. She had been careless with passwords lately. Gil has a way of making people sloppy. Her email was still logged in. I found them immediately. Dozens of messages between Lauren and Jalen going back 2 months. The early ones were professional, about spreadsheets and reports. But the tone shifted like a room, going from fluorescent to candlelight. Thank you for listening today. You really understand me. I cannot wait to see you tomorrow. These meetings are the best part of my day. My husband would never appreciate a sunset like this. You see beauty in everything. And in the recent ones that made my jaw lock. Last night was perfect. I never knew I could feel this way again. We need to be more careful. I think he is getting suspicious. Jalen, I love you. I know it is complicated, but I cannot keep pretending anymore. I love you. She loved him. The words did not land like a strike. They landed like gravity, relentless and impossible to ignore. I took screenshots and forwarded everything to my secure email. The folder was getting full. The final message was from that morning. Cannot meet today. He is acting strange. Need to lay low for a few days. Missing you already. So that was where she really was. Not at an emergency meeting. Hiding from me because she believed I had begun to suspect her. She was right. I closed the laptop and went to my office. Time to research divorce attorneys. The blue of my computer screen felt colder than usual. I typed with steady hands. I called the main number at her company. Good morning, I said, keeping my voice even. This is Dr. Miller's office. I need to confirm an appointment time that Mrs. Reed might have mentioned to you. She said she had a work conflict today. The receptionist returned after a moment. I am sorry, but Mrs. Reed is not scheduled to work today. She called in sick this morning. That is strange, I said. She mentioned an emergency meeting. No, sir. She is definitely not here. Would you like to leave a message? No, thank you. I hung up. Strike 3. While I sat at home like a fool, my wife was building another life in the city with another man. But I was not a fool anymore. I spent the afternoon gathering data about Jalen, his posts, his work history, public details he had chosen to broadcast like confetti. By evening, I knew he was 29, divorced last year, no children, in a modest apartment complex in Bronzeville, drove a recent Honda Civic, liked craft beer and hiking. He had a reputation. Several comments on his photos hinted at learning the hard way about his character. One former girlfriend posted cryptically about cheaters never changing. My wife was not exceptional to him. She was just next. At 6 p.m., Lauren's key turned in the lock. She walked in with a tired expression, the kind of exhaustion that comes from adrenaline and secrets. How was your emergency meeting? I asked from the kitchen. She froze. What? Your emergency meeting, I said evenly. How did it go? Oh, fine. Just budget issues. Very boring. Must have been serious to call you in on your sick day, I said. Her eyes widened. My sick day? Your office said you called in sick, I replied. When I called to see if you wanted to have lunch. I watch her mind run a triathlon. Shock, scramble, settle. I was sick. But then they called and said they really needed me for this budget thing, so I dragged myself in. That is dedication, I said. Most people would have stayed home. Well, you know how responsible I am, she said, attempting a smile that flickered out too soon. Did Jalen make it to the budget meeting? I asked softly. You know, your colleague from accounting. The panic returned to her eyes. I do not know why you keep asking about Jalen. He is just a coworker. You mention him often, I said. I assumed you were friends. We are professional colleagues, she insisted. That is all. I nodded and smiled, as if facts and smiles were interchangeable currencies. Of course. Just professional. She went to shower. The water drummed a hard rhythm. When I checked her phone on the coffee table, I found the passcode had changed since yesterday. 4 digits, different pattern. The case was different too. Yesterday black leather, today blue silicone. Jalen's social media featured a lot of blue. It was a minor detail. Minor details tell truth. When she came downstairs, I was reading. She paused at the foot of the stairs. What is that? She asked, noting the article in my hands. An article about workplace relationships, I said. It says most affairs start with emotional connections between colleagues. She nearly dropped her mug. That is interesting. It says here that 65% begin with innocent conversations about personal problems. I continued, keeping my tone neutral. The other person becomes a confidant, someone who understands them better than their spouse. Her face paled. Why are you reading about affairs? Research for work, I said. We are updating our human resources policies. I want to make sure we cover all scenarios. Oh, she said faintly. According to this, I added, the most common signs include working late more often, mysterious phone calls, and mentioning a coworker's name more frequently than usual. Those are vague signs, she said. They could be innocent. True, I said. But when multiple signs appear together, the innocence fades. She fell silent. Have I been starting arguments? She asked after a moment. I pretended to think. Now that you mention it, you have been more critical lately. Little things. My coffee habits, how I load the dishwasher, my choice of restaurants. I did not realize, she whispered. It is often subconscious behavior, I said. The person doing it does not always recognize it. She went to bed early again. More whispering on the phone. More sudden silences when I walked past the door. I was not tired. I had more research to finish and plans to make. Friday morning, I woke with a plan. While she showered, I dialed her office. Good morning. The receptionist chirped. This is Caldwell Analytics. How may I direct your call? I said. I would like to send flowers to one of your employees. My wife works there. I want to surprise her for our anniversary. She works closely with Jalen in accounting. I thought it would be nice to have the flowers delivered during their team meeting today. That is very sweet, the receptionist said. May I have her name? Lauren Reed, I said. One moment, she said, tapping keys. I am sorry, sir, but Jalen called in sick today, and Mrs. Reed is not scheduled to work Fridays anymore. She switched to a 4-day schedule last month. A 4-day schedule? I asked gently. Are you sure? She left for work an hour ago. Let me double check. More tapping. Yes, sir. She is definitely off on Fridays. Has been since early March. March, right when the messages began to shift from professional to personal. Thank you for your help, I said, and hung up. When Lauren came downstairs, I was making coffee. Big day at work? I asked, stirring slowly. Just the usual, she said. Busy Friday. That quarterly report is still keeping you busy? I asked. Yes, she replied. Very demanding. Well, I said, do not work too hard. It is Friday. She kissed my cheek and left. I watched her through the blinds as she drove away. Then I got in my car and followed at a distance. She did not drive toward the loop. She headed south to Bronzeville and pulled into the parking lot of Jalen's apartment complex. She parked in a visitor spot and walked straight toward Building C. I parked behind a maintenance truck and watched. 45 minutes later, Jalen appeared at a second-floor window, shirtless. He waved down toward the lot and disappeared. 5 minutes later, Lauren emerged from the building, adjusting her clothes with quick, short motions. She was having sex with him on Fridays while I thought she was at work. 2 months of ritual. The pattern unfolded so neatly, I felt an empty calm, like watching a storm from far away. I followed her to a coffee shop in Hyde Park where she sat alone with a latte for an hour, staring out the window as if trying to rewrite time. Then she went shopping, buying groceries for dinner, ready to perform the perfect wife routine. This was her choreography. Work 4 days, cheat on Fridays, come home, and pretend normalcy. I drove home and called a divorce attorney. Patterson and Cole, said the receptionist with a crisp tone. This is Patricia. How may I help you? I need to schedule a consultation about divorce proceedings, I said. Adultery. I have evidence. How much evidence? She asked. Text messages, emails, photographs, witness testimony, GPS location data, and visual confirmation, I said. There was a pause. That is thorough. Can you come on Monday at 10 a.m.? I will be there, I said. When Lauren got home that evening, her mood was unnaturally bright. She hummed while she cooked, smiling for no reason. The afterglow of a day spent where she should not have been. You seem happy, I observed. Just a good day at work, she said. We finished that big project I've been stressed about. The quarterly report, I said. Exactly, she said. Feels good to have it done. I bet, I replied. You have been working so hard on it. All those late nights, those early meetings. She nodded. But it is finally finished. Things should get back to normal. We should celebrate, I said. How about I surprise you with dinner tomorrow night? That sounds wonderful, she said. I was thinking we could go to your office, I added calmly. I could bring takeout. We could eat in the conference room where you have had all those meetings. Make it special. Her smile faltered. My office. Sure, I said lightly. I have never seen your workspace since they remodeled. I would love to meet some of your colleagues. Especially Jalen. You talk about him so much. I feel like we are practically friends. She studied my face. I do not think that is a good idea, she said. Office security. They do not allow visitors after hours. What about during regular hours? I asked. I could bring lunch on Monday. Monday is really busy, she said quickly. Maybe some other time. I smiled. Of course. Some other time. Saturday morning. I began phase 2 of my plan. I have a great idea, I said over breakfast. Let us do something spontaneous. Drive to the lakefront, walk on the beach in Indiana, have dinner at that seafood place you love in Michigan City. She brightened. That sounds amazing. Perfect, I said. But first, I want to stop by your office. I left some papers in the car yesterday, and I want to grab them before we hit the road. She blinked. My office. Just a quick stop, I said. 5 minutes. You can show me the new conference room while we are there. Her excitement thinned into worry. Actually, I do not think that is necessary. What papers? Insurance documents for the car, I said. In case we break down on the road trip. We can get them later, she said. It will take too long. It will just take a minute, I insisted. Come on. I am curious to see where you spend so much time. She was cornered. Refusing would be too obvious. Agreeing would expose her lies. I do not have my access card, she said. No problem, I replied. The security guard can let us in. You work there on weekends, do you not? They are strict about visitors, she said. Very strict. I'm not a visitor, I said softly. I am your husband. The word husband made her flinch so slightly, I might have imagined it. Maybe we should just go straight to the lakefront, she said weakly. After we stop by her office, I said. I insist. 20 minutes later, we pulled into the parking lot of Caldwell Analytics downtown building. It was nearly empty, just a few cars likely belonging to maintenance and weekend staff. Looks quiet, I observed. Yes, she said. Most people do not work weekends. But you have been working extra hours, I said. I thought you might have company. We walked to the main entrance. Her steps slowed with each yard, as if the air had grown heavier. Maybe this is not a good idea, she said when we reached the door. Why not? I asked. I just remember they changed the security protocols, she said. Spouses are not allowed in anymore. I glanced at the information board by the doors. It read, visiting hours, Saturday and Sunday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Family members welcome with employee escort. According to this, I said, family members are welcome. She swallowed. I do not know. It will be complicated. What exactly are you afraid of? I asked, not unkindly. I'm not afraid of anything, she said. I just think it is unnecessary. Then let us go in, I said. The security guard at the desk looked up and recognized Lauren. Mrs. Reed, he said, friendly and surprised. His name tag read Mr. Bryant. Do not usually see you on weekends. Just stopping by quickly, she said, her smile brittle. This is my husband. I shook his hand. Nice to meet you, I said. I have heard a lot about this place, especially about her Friday projects. Mr. Bryant frowned. Friday projects? He repeated. Yes, I said. She has been working a lot of Fridays lately. Mr. Bryant looked politely confused. But ma'am, you do not work Fridays anymore, he said to Lauren. You switched to a 4-day schedule months ago, Monday through Thursday. I have not seen you on a Friday since March. I turned my head toward Lauren. Her face had gone white. What do you mean? I asked Mr. Bryant, keeping my eyes on her. Mrs. Reed changed her schedule, Mr. Bryant said carefully. It has been a while now. Interesting, I said softly, because she's been telling me about Friday meetings and late conferences and emergency projects. Mr. Bryant looked between us. Maybe I am mistaken, he said awkwardly. No, I said. I do not think you are. Lauren opened her mouth to speak. No words came out. Matter of fact, I continued, still looking at her. Yesterday, she told me about a big quarterly report she finished. The one that has kept her so busy on Fridays. We finished our quarterly reports 3 weeks ago. Mr. Bryant offered helpfully. Submitted them to corporate on the 15th. I nodded slowly. So there have not been any Friday projects, I said. No late conferences. No emergency meetings. Not that I know of, sir, he said, shrinking into his seat. I turned back to Lauren. So, I said, where have you been going every Friday for the past 2 months? She was trembling now. I can explain, she whispered. I'm sure you can, I said. But let us do it at home. We drove back in silence. She stared out the passenger window, like a passenger on a train, watching a landscape she did not recognize. At home, I sat in the living room. Do you want to tell me where you have been spending your Fridays? She sat across from me, hands clasped tightly. I have been seeing a therapist, she said finally. A therapist? I said, yes. I have been struggling with some personal issues. I did not want to worry you. What kind of personal issues require 8 hours of therapy every Friday? I asked. It is not just therapy, she said. It is a wellness program. Therapy, meditation, group sessions. What is the name of the wellness center? I asked. Silence. What is your therapist's name? I asked. More silence. We could call and verify your appointments, I said. The last of her resolve snapped. Okay, she said. Fine. I have not been seeing a therapist. Then where have you been? I asked. I needed time to think about our marriage, she said. And this thinking required you to go to Jalen's apartment every Friday morning. I asked. Her face went blank. How did you? I followed you today, I said. I watched you go into his building. I watched you come out. I saw everything I needed to see. She started to cry. It was not the sharp cry of pain. It was the heavy cry of guilt trying to catch up to itself. It is not what you think, she said weakly. Really? I asked. Because I think my wife has been cheating on me for months. I think she has been lying about work to cover it up. I think she's been sleeping with another man most Fridays while I believe she was contributing to our home. Please let me explain, she said. Explain which lie? I asked. The conference? The Fridays? The therapist? Which one would you like to start with? She was sobbing now. I never meant for this to happen, she said. But it did happen, I said. And you have been lying to me about it for months. I love you, she said. No, I said. You do not. People who love each other do not do this. It was a mistake, she said. A mistake that happened every Friday for 2 months is not a mistake, I said. It is a choice. She looked at me with desperation. What are you going to do? I'm going to the lakefront like we planned, I said calmly. But I am going alone. Please do not leave me, she whispered. You have already left me, I said. I am just making it official. I grabbed my keys and headed for the door. When you are ready to tell me the truth about everything, I said, we can talk. But I am done with lies. I drove for hours along the lake, and then east into Indiana, the windows down, the air cold and honest. I thought about the man who had wanted to believe in his wife more than he wanted to believe in the facts. That man had not protected himself. That man had ignored flags that were not red so much as flashing neon. I drove until midnight, until the road felt steady beneath me again. When I returned, Lauren was waiting in the living room with red eyes and a box of tissues. We need to talk, she said the moment I walked in. Now you want to talk, I said. I've been thinking about everything, she said. You deserve the truth. I sat across from her and folded my arms. Go ahead. It started in February, she said. Jalen and I were working late on a project. He listened to me. I told him how distant we had become, how we never talked anymore. So you talked to him instead, I said. It was not supposed to mean anything, she said. It felt like venting to a friend. When did the friend become something else? I asked. Gradually, she said. He started texting me outside of work. He remembered things I told him. It felt good to have someone care about the details of my life again. I leaned forward. When did you start lying to me? The first time he asked me to lunch, she said. I told you I was eating with the women from Human Resources. When did lunch become sex? I asked. She flinched. 3 weeks later, she said. I went to his apartment after work one day. It just happened. Nothing just happens, I said. You made a choice. I know, she said. I made the wrong choice. How many times? I asked. What, she said. How many times did you sleep with him? I asked again. She stared at her hands. Every Friday for the past 2 months, she said. 8 times. In his apartment? I asked. Yes, she said. Did you ever bring him to our house? I asked. No, she said softly. Never. Did you tell him you loved him? I asked. Her silence was the answer. I saw the emails, I said. You told him you loved him. You told him I would never understand you the way he does. I was confused, she said. Were you confused when he gave you jewelry? I asked. Her hand went instinctively to her wrist. I know about everything, I said. The restaurant, the special dinner, the bracelet, the Friday routine. I have known for days. Then why did you not say anything? She asked, crying harder. Because I wanted to see how far you would go, I said. Turns out pretty far. I'm so sorry, she said. I know I have hurt you. You did not just hurt me, I said. You destroyed 8 years of marriage. Can we fix this? She asked. Fix what? I said. Your lies, your cheating, the double life. I will end it with Jalen, she said quickly. I will quit my job. We can go to counseling. You think this is about Jalen? I asked. Jalen is a symptom. The problem is your character and your choices. People make mistakes, she said. Sleeping with another man 8 times is not a mistake, I said. Scheduling secret meetings is not a mistake. Lying every day for months is not a mistake. Those are decisions. She sobbed. What do you want me to do? Stop pretending this was an accident, I said. Say what it was. I had an affair, she said, voice shaking. I lied to you. I betrayed our marriage. What? I asked. Because I was selfish, she said. Because I liked the attention. Because it was exciting to have a secret. Finally, I said, some honesty. Do you love him? I asked. I thought I did, she said. Do you love me? I asked. Yes, she said. Then why did you choose him over me for 2 months? I asked. I did not choose him over you, she said weakly. Every Friday you chose him, I said. Every lie was a choice. Every deleted text was a choice. She had no answer. The silence finally told the truth. What happens now? She asked. Now you move out, I said. What? She said. I want you out of the house by tomorrow night, I said. Where am I supposed to go? She asked. That is not my problem anymore, I said. You can figure it out. Can we try to work this out? She asked. Work what out? I asked. How to trust you. How forget. I cannot. Other couples get through this, she said. Other couples do not matter, I said. We matter. And we are done. Please do not do this, she said. I'm not doing anything, I said. You did this when you started lying and cheating. I choose you now, she said. Too late, I said. You had 8 years to choose me. You chose him. I stood. I'm going to bed, I said. You can sleep in the guest room tonight. Tomorrow, you pack and leave. What about our marriage? She asked. I paused at the stairs. We do not have a marriage anymore, I said. We have a divorce to plan. Sunday morning, I woke early and made calls. First, the bank. I need to remove someone from our joint accounts immediately, I said. Is this due to divorce proceedings, sir? The banker asked. Yes, I said. I have documentation of adultery. We will need you to come in with paperwork, the banker said. But I can place a temporary hold requiring dual signatures. Perfect, I said. Second call. My lawyer. Patterson here, said the voice. We met Friday. I need to expedite everything, I said. What is the rush? Patterson asked. She confessed last night, I said. I have a recorded confession on my phone. The voice memo app was running when she started talking. It is legal in this state. Bring everything Monday, Patterson said. We will file immediately. Third call. Her mother. Hi, Mrs. Coleman, I said softly. I need to tell you something about Lauren. 20 minutes later, I had explained everything. Her mother cried quietly. Her father, Mr. Coleman, listened in silence and then said, I am sorry. She was not raised to act like this. I know, I said, but I thought you should hear it from me. What can we do? Mrs. Coleman asked. Be there for her, I said. She will need family support. And you? Mr. Coleman asked. I will be fine, I said. It felt true. When Lauren came downstairs with 2 suitcases, I was at the kitchen table with coffee and a folder of documents. What is all that? She asked. Bank statements, account information, credit card records, I said. Why? She asked, eyes darting. Because as of tomorrow, you are financially independent, I said. Her face drained. What does that mean? It means you are off for joint checking, off savings, off the cards, I said. How am I supposed to live? She asked. The same way you were planning to live with Jalen, I said. I was not planning to live with Jalen, she said quickly. Then you should have thought about that before you started an affair, I said. What about the house? She asked. What about it? I asked. It is half mine, she said. It is not, I said. Check the deed. I slid the document across the table. My name only. I bought it before we married. But I have been making payments, she protested. You have contributed to household expenses, I said. That is different than ownership. This is not fair, she said. Fair ended in February, I said. When the lies began. What about my car? She asked. It is in your name, I said. Take it. What about my retirement account? She asked. Also yours, I said. I have never touched it. She understood then. I had protected my assets without imagining this outcome. Her choices exposed her vulnerability. Where am I supposed to go? She asked, voice small. Jalen's apartment seemed to work on Fridays, I said. I cannot live with Jalen, she said. Why not? I asked. You love him. It is complicated, she said. It was complicated when you were married, I said. Now it is simple. You are single. She stared at the floor. You are being cruel, she whispered. I'm being practical, I said. You made adult choices. Now you face adult consequences. I made a mistake, she said again. You made 8, I said. At least. My phone buzzed. A text. Who is that? She asked. Jalen, I said, and showed her the message. We need to talk. Can you call me? He wants to talk to me, I said. Let's find out why. I called and put on speaker. Hello, I said. This is Anthony Reed. You wanted to talk? Yes, sir, Jalen said. His voice was hesitant. I heard about what happened. From who? I asked. She called me this morning, he said. She was crying. I glanced at Lauren. You called him before you finished packing. She did not respond. Jalen, I said, I have a question. Did you know she was married when you started sleeping with her? Silence. Jalen, I said again. Yes, he said quietly. I knew. And you did it anyway, I said. It is complicated, he said. Actually, it is simple, I said. You knowingly slept with another man's wife. What is complicated about that? We fell in love, he said. In love. I said. Then when are you moving in together? Another silence. What do you mean? She is leaving today, I said. She is single now. When is the wedding? We have not discussed that, he said, tone tight. Why not? I asked. You love her. She loves you. She is available. It is not that simple, he said. Sure it is, I said. Unless you were just using her for sex with no intention of commitment. That is not fair, he said. Then prove me wrong, I said. I need to think, he said. Think fast, I said. She needs somewhere to live tonight. I hung up. Lauren stared at me. He does not want me to move in, she said quietly. Shocking, I said, as if he was only looking for what he got. He said he loved me, she said, sounding extremely young. People say a lot to get what they want, I said. He is not like that, she said, but her voice had emptied out. She picked up her suitcases. This is not over, she said. Yes, it is, I said. I will fight the divorce, she said. With what lawyer? I asked. You just lost your shared income. I will find a way, she said. Good luck, I said. She paused at the door and turned back. I really did love you, she said. Past tense, I said. Noted. After she left, the house was quiet in a way that felt like oxygen. For the first time in months, I was not wondering where she truly was or who she was truly with. Peace arrived like a guest who did not need to be entertained. 6 months later, I was a different man. The divorce had finalized quickly. The recorded confession simplified everything. No contested assets. No alimony. No courtroom theater. Lauren signed what Patterson placed in front of her. I used the time well. I lost 20 pounds, gained muscle, updated my wardrobe, started a Thursday night cooking class in Hyde Park, joined a Sunday hiking group that explored forest preserves just outside the city. Work surged. Without the distraction of doubt, my focus sharpened. I landed 2 major clients and received a promotion with a substantial raise. I repainted the bedroom, bought new furniture, turned her old office into a home gym. I replaced the remnants of our marriage with a home that looked like a future I recognized. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Can we talk, please? It is important." I knew who it was. She had tried contacting me through different numbers, email addresses, even social media accounts. I had ignored them all. Curiosity nibbled. I typed back, "What do you want?" "To apologize," she wrote. "To explain." 5 minutes. "There is nothing to explain," I replied. "We are divorced." "Jalen left me," she wrote. "I have nowhere to go." "That is not my problem," I wrote. "Please," she wrote. "I made a mistake." "You made a choice," I wrote. "Live with it." I blocked the number and went back to chopping onions. The sizzle of olive oil in the skillet sounded better than any apology ever could. Later that evening, my doorbell rang. Through the window, I saw her car in the driveway. I did not answer. She rang again, then knocked, then raised her voice. "I know you are in there," she said. "Your car is here." I turned up the television. She kept talking. "I just want to talk." 5 minutes. I continued watching my show, The Dialogue Bomb. "I was wrong about everything," she said. "Jalen was using me. I see that now. Still nothing for me. I threw away 8 years for someone who did not care about me," she said. "He ended it after 2 weeks. He said dating a divorced woman was too complicated." Interesting, I thought. Not relevant. "I have been staying in a motel for 3 months," she continued. "I cannot afford an apartment. I lost my job. They said the relationship created a hostile environment. I'm sorry that happened," I said quietly inside my head. The words did not change anything. "My parents will not help me," she said. "They are ashamed." Good for them, I thought. Consequences matter. "I know I do not deserve forgiveness," she said. "But I am desperate." I walked to the window and looked out. She sat on my front steps, head in her hands. I felt nothing sharp. No anger. No sadness. Just the cool knowledge that I had survived what I once feared would break me. After an hour, she left. The next morning, her mother called. "She is in the hospital," Mrs. Coleman said. "Exhaustion. She has not been eating. She's asking for you." "I cannot help her," I said. "She is your wife," Mrs. Coleman said. "She is my ex-wife," I replied. "But you loved her once," she said. "Does that not mean anything?" "It means I am grateful I learned the truth before wasting more years," I said. She was quiet. "She really did love you," she said finally. "If she had loved me, she would not have cheated," I said. "People make choices. Then they live with them." "You will not even visit her," Mrs. Coleman said. "That seems harsh." "Harsh would be pretending 8 months of lies never happened," I said. "Harsh would be rescuing her from the consequences of her decisions." "What if she promises to change?" she asked. "She already promised to love, honor, and cherish," I said. "Those promises did not hold." "So that is it?" she asked. "You move on." "That is exactly it," I said, and ended the call. Then I deleted the number. It felt like cleaning a shelf and finally throwing away a broken thing. That afternoon, I had a date. Coffee with a woman I met on the hiking trail in the Palos Forest Preserves. Her name was Camille. She was smart, funny, steady, and kind. She had a life she liked and did not want to be saved from it. As I ironed a shirt, I thought about the man I had been before everything blew apart. The man who wanted so badly to believe in people that he ignored the proof in front of him. That man was gone. In his place stood someone who knew his worth and would not negotiate it down. I drove to meet Camille with clear eyes and a quiet heart. The city felt new, as if the map had shifted to make room for me. I did not think about Lauren for weeks at a time. When I did, It was like remembering a road I once took that turned out to be a dead end.